Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to a Minecraft tutorial. Today I have a door which opens depending on your XP level. The way this is set up at the moment, it will only open if you are level 5 or higher. Now as you can see, I'm level 1, push the button, the door doesn't open. However, if I give myself 5 levels of XP and then try the button again, the door opens. As you may have also seen, that the door took 5 levels of XP from me. So basically, you are paying with XP to open the door. Now, if you're wondering how this all happens, let's jump on over to where I can explain it in more detail. The first component I'm going to show you is this command block. This command block is powered via a hopper clock, and this is the fastest one that you can build in the game. And this basically feeds an item backwards and forwards between each hopper. As you can see, they're facing each other. The way we get a signal out of that hopper is with a comparator, which feeds into this command block. This command block is testing for a player who's a minimum level of XP, which is 5, and within a radius of 5 blocks. If the player fulfills the minimum XP level and they're within 5 blocks, it will send a signal out which will deactivate that torch. Now as you can see, there's a torch next to it which actually comes from this button. So they are the two criteria you have to fulfill in order for the door to open. So if you are a minimum of 5 XP levels and you've pushed the button, the door will open. The 2 redstone torches you just saw then feed onto this wire. This wire goes into this block, which then does 2 things. This torch powers this block when triggered and also powers this redstone. Now the first block up here will power this command block, which does the most important feature of this door, which is take the XP from you. This will take 5 levels from the player who is a minimum of 5 levels, but within a radius of 7, and that radius is just to ensure that the XP is taken from the player. Now this torch feeds down here, like I just said, which will then actually turn off this torch. This torch is stopping items from flowing out of this hopper. Now this here is a hopper clock, much like that one, it's just a lot longer. So like before, we can take a signal out of a hopper with a comparator and feed it into various other components, which actually is the door mechanism itself to open the door. The final piece of the door is actually the button on the inside. This button does not require any XP to open the door. Basically, the way that it's done is it bypasses all the logic and simply comes straight down to this torch and activates the timer. So now that I've explained the various components, and I hope that you've understood my explanations, I'm going to get down to building it. What I've set up here is a template for building the door. It's quite simple, and basically if you just copy what I've got here, you should be able to get the bases of the door sorted. Now we're going to start with the green line, and the green line is basically the 2 components that come together to open the door. So we're going to start by placing blocks in the following locations. We're going to put a torch there, going to put redstone dust there and there. Now we're going to come out from here and we're going to make this 5 blocks long and then 2 on top. We're going to place a redstone there, a repeater there, and a torch there. So basically this button will now turn off that torch. The second part of this is the comparator. So we've got our hopper clock, which needs to go in like so. We need to place an item in that hopper clock, and you'll see it's bouncing back and forth. Place a comparator there and there. We are now going to program this command block. So we're going to test for a player with a level minimum of 5 and within a radius of 5. So now that will test for the player with a minimum level of 5 and a radius of 5. So the last thing we have to do is actually place the redstone torch, and that's the green circuit done. The next circuit is the yellow circuit, and this is quite an easy one to do. It doesn't involve too many blocks, and that's what makes it nice. That there is where all the blocks need to go. Redstone dust there and there and there, and redstone torch there and there. Now the last thing we need to do is program this command block, which is the XP one. So it's taking the 5 levels of XP from the player who had the minimum level of 5, but this time it's within a radius of 7, just to ensure that the XP is taken from the player. This next circuit is the one to open the door from the inside. Now this one is special because you do not have to pay more XP in order to open the door. So basically, if you put the wool exactly like I've just done, we're going to put a repeater there, which will just stop the current from going back up the line, which isn't really an issue, but you know, it's just a little nicer. Redstone dust on top of all of the wool, and then torch, and that's it done. Now the way to test if you've done that right is to actually push the button from here, and just to check whether that torch goes off, and if it does, you know you've done it right. Now the pink circuit only involves one wool block, but it also involves the hopper clock, which determines how long your door stays open. This can be as short as 2 hoppers or as long as 1,000. It's completely up to you for how long you want the door to stay open. However, for this video I'm going to make it the length of this line here. So basically you want to put a block there, face your hopper into it, and then face the following hoppers just into each other. Remove the pink wool and then place another hopper. Now what you've done is you've essentially made it so that all the hoppers face into each other and the block will feed around. Now don't forget, you need to put a block inside the hopper in order for it to become a hopper clock. Now the pink wool comes off the side here, and now this block here is your output for the whole system. You do not have to hook it into a door. You could hook it into a dispenser with fireworks. It's completely up to you, but for this video we're hooking it into a door. Now this is the final circuit, and this is just the circuit that controls the door opening and closing. So you basically need to place blocks in a stair-like fashion, and we're just going to leave it there for now. You need to place a block there and below it, and then you need to place another one there, and then again like stairs. You're going to place a block there, there, and like so. You're going to come over to this side and do the same as what we just did on the other side, like so. I'm going to place one on the side of this comparator. You can place that by holding shift. You're going to place another one here, and then bring them across. Now you want a repeater there, and that is just so that if we put a redstone dust there, they'd cross over. We don't want that, so redstone repeater there, dust on all of this, and there, and there. Now we need redstone torches on the underside of all these 3 blocks, and that will carry the signal up to this block, which then powers this current torch there with redstone on top, and then the same on the other side, and that's it. Door complete. Now for the moment of truth, and that is to test the door. If we've done everything correctly, the door should open. Now I've got more than 5 levels of XP, and if we push the button, the door opens. Now it should close. There we go. Now if we push this button, it should open again, and then it will close behind us. Now just 2 quick things before I wrap up the video. As I said earlier, this hopper clock here determines how long your door stays open for. If you want to shorten the amount of time your door stays open, you can remove hoppers, but just ensure that they are facing all into each other so the item goes around in a circle. As long as this hopper is in this spot, because the signal feeds into this one and then out of it as well, that's all good, as long as that hopper's in that spot. And the other thing I wanted to say was that you can actually change the amount of XP required to open the door. If you put this to 1 or to 100, that will determine what minimum level you have to be for the door to open. Now if you change the number in this one, you also want to change it for both this number and this number here. If you change both of them, and as well as this one, the door will operate correctly. Now I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Feel free to like, comment, or subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.